All right, so here to perform a couple of songs for us and give a preview of tomorrow night's house concert is Shelley Segal, all the way from Australia. Although you're living here in the U.S. now, just recently moved out to Los Angeles. So coming all the way from Los Angeles. Shelley's been a musician for several years now, released numerous albums, including an Atheist album. That's the title, an Atheist album. And she's performed out there in many different conferences, atheist conferences, humanist conferences, and in particular, both of the Reason rallies, both the 2012 and the 2016 Reason rallies. She performed out there in Washington, D.C. in front of tens of thousands of people. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and let Shelley take it from here. Please welcome our performer, Shelley Segal.
Thanks very much, Vic. This is actually our third time in Houston, and all of my visits here have been sponsored by Humanists of Houston. So thank you very much for your support and membership that allows Vic and everyone to put these kind of events together. So as Vic said, I'm a singer-songwriter from Melbourne, Australia. And this is Rob, by the way, joining me on the guitar. And the first record that I ever released was called an Atheist album. And that's how I got involved with the secular community and secular activism. I was brought up in the Jewish tradition. And after at about 19, I left my community and my religion, and I started to learn about secularism and atheism and humanism, and I started to identify in that way, and eventually I wrote an album with all my thoughts on the subject. And the first song that I'd like to share with you today is a bit of a snapshot of what it was like for me as a young woman growing up in Judaism. We were moderately religious at home. We kept the dietary laws and had Shabbat dinner every week, and we went to synagogue every week. But the synagogue that we went to was an Orthodox synagogue, which meant that we had gender segregation. So the women sit upstairs and the men sit downstairs. And the women are not allowed to participate in leading the service, because in Orthodox Judaism, a woman's voice is not allowed to be heard unaccompanied. In Orthodox Judaism, women and men aren't allowed to touch. So the rabbi would greet my father and shake his hand, greet my brother and shake his hand, and hello, Shelley. And I would watch my father and my brother be called up to the bima, to the stage, for the great honor of leading their community, for the great honor of singing in the synagogue, and I wasn't allowed to. I also went to a Jewish day school, which was not as religious, but even so gave us very strong messages about what it meant to be a woman in Judaism. And there was a prayer that I remember every morning saying since primary school, a call and response between the boys and the girls. And the boys would say in Hebrew, "Dear God, thank you for not making me a woman." And we would answer back, "Dear God, thank you for making me what I am." And this was explained away to me by women in my community, that we weren't necessarily lesser as women, but we were different, and we had different roles. But different is still defined, and I refuse to be defined by my gender. So this song talks about moments for myself, what it was like growing up as a young woman in Judaism, but also some of the way that the other Abrahamic traditions and their liturgy talk about women and women's roles. This song is called Eve. The Bible tells me I was made for and from man. Everything that I can, I must surrender to His will. I must submit voice. My role has been divinely defined, and I have no other choice. I may not be a teacher of men, I must cover up my shame. These are the laws of the one who in vain I cannot name. It tells me my place with everlasting grace, and my punishment for wanting to learn is a painful burn from which I may not return. The Bible tells me that I am unclean. I am impure, you cannot touch me. And it has nothing to do with where I've been. It is part of who I am. It is because I corrupt man. I was asking for it just by being a woman. He tells me my place with everlasting grace, and my punishment for wanting to learn is a painful burn from which I may not return. The Bible tells me I was made foreign from man, and I must do for him everything that I can. I must surrender to his will. I must submit. I can't make the household decisions 'cause I am unfit. Tells me my place with everlasting grace. It tells me my place with everlasting grace. Thank you so much. We're really looking forward to tomorrow night's concert, and we'd like to thank Joyce very much for hosting us. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing some of you there. House concerts are always fun. I encourage people to get up and share stories, and it becomes a little bit of an interactive thing, which is a lot of fun. This next song I wrote after I was hitchhiking around Europe, and I'd been waiting with a friend on the freeway outside Amsterdam. We'd been waiting for 4 hours with our thumbs out, hoping for a ride, and a gentleman saw us. He pulled over and motioned for us to come. So we put on our packs and we started walking over, and he started laughing and drove away. And I thought that was a bit nasty. And you know, I don't mind if people don't want to pick up hitchhikers. Everyone has things to do with their time. So I don't begrudge anyone not giving us a lift, but for someone to take time out of their day to make someone else feel bad is a sentiment that I think is, you know, very disheartening. Obviously bigger than in my situation, it wasn't so bad, but the fact that people have that in their nature to take time out of their day to put other people down was something that, yeah, I find very disheartening. So I sat down on the side of the road and I started writing a song about this, about how people can be cruel to each other or unkind. Maybe if you look a little bit different or you're coming from a different place, then people aren't going to help you out. So while I was writing this song on the side of the freeway, another gentleman walked past, and he must have assumed that I was busking because he gave me a big pile of change. So I couldn't keep writing this song about how strangers can be awful to each other when a stranger had been so kind to me. And so the song changed into a big humanist love song to everybody in the world. And I much prefer it this way. And this is called the Hitchhiking Song. Thank you very much again for having us, and thank you to Vic. Thank you very much.